Well, howdy, y'all. It's Frightman, and I am here to keep you spooktacular. In today's video, we're going to be assembling and reviewing the 7-foot towering boogeyman from the 2018 Spirit Halloween season. So, let's dive right in. When I start putting Halloween up in my yard, it's very common for neighbors to come by and ask me, are you going to have that monster swinging the kid again? People love this thing. So what's in the box? So we have foam pads that are going to fill out the bones. There's the bones, or the structure poles. The base, we have his feet. We have this darling child that he's going to be dangling and swinging. We have his face, his control box, his clothing, another hand attached to the arm, and his chest plate. So as with every prop, we start off with the base. This is the type of base that has the wings that just fold out on the side. I really like these type because they make it very easy for storage in the size of the box, as well as these wings are really good to use to secure your props to the ground. So now we're going to begin with putting his bones over the base. One note I do want to make is on all of these animatronics, there is a label attached to every part that will have a letter on it. And these are important if you have to go back to the instructions for the assembly process. These will wear off in time. So one of the recommendations that I do make is that you want to use a high quality clear tape when you first get your prop and wrap it around these letters. And then that way, 6 years later down the line, you can still read it. So with that done, we're just simply going to be going ahead and installing the first poles here onto the base. As we do that, we're going to be sliding the feet down over these poles. All right, with our first set of poles installed, the next thing we're going to do is add the second set of poles. The second set of poles has an angle on it. And what we're doing here is we're kind of giving him more of a center of balance. So we're kind of bringing him back on the base here. This guy's pretty tall, so it definitely needs to be in the center of this base. And now we're ready for the final set of poles, going straight over these. Again, this is another angle, and we are just bringing him back here to the center. With these poles installed, we're now ready to put some meat on these bones, and we'll be using these foam pieces to do that. The foam is cut, so it's very easy to simply slide over these poles. All right, so here's where we are. We've assembled the base, the leg structure, all of the poles. We've added the foam to those poles, and now we're ready to start dressing him. So you do want to be careful with these pants, which is the next part. This, I don't even think this is a material. It's something like you could really tear apart easy. So we're going to start with the bottom of the pants legs here, and we're going to be carefully sliding that down over these poles. All right, now this is the look with those pants pulled over the support structure. And our next step is to install his control box with the waist. Now this control box is a standard control box, on-off continuous step pad, volume control. It's heavy. This thing is made really well. So this control box simply slides over the poles that we have that are sticking up, and it uses the standard push pin locks to secure this into place. Now while I'm doing this, one thing I will tell you is that I also have this year's Boogeyman prop from the Home Depot, and I'm kind of excited about that because this guy is going to be paired with the Boogeyman from the Home Depot. So I'm going to have a little twin competition going on here, and I think it's going to work out really good. And now it's time for his waist ring. Oh, I slowed down. I always have a hard time saying that. So the waist ring will slide down over his control box, and that's going to go into a couple holes here at the back of the control box. There's simply some wire sticking down that this is going to slide into. As always, the waist ring but supports two different things. One, it keeps the clothes from getting here in the motor mechanism, as well as allowing the elastic here on the pants to slide over this and hold the pants up. So I got the power. It's time for the power to be attached here to the back of the control box. By the way, I can't use it because of copyrights, but I Got the Power is a really cool song from the 80s. Look it up. You probably like it. Now our final frame assembly is his shoulders. And the shoulders go in just like the waist ring does. There's simply some bars that are sticking down here that are going to slide into sockets here. I do note on both of these that one side is larger than the other. So it's impossible to get this wrong. Also, you'll notice that there's a hook here on the back. This hook is going to actually fasten to a loop on the back of the frame here. So a little added clarification on how these go into the sockets here. They just simply slide in. Then you'll see that he has this wire that is coming down and it clips right here into a ring. Now we're cruising along at a pretty good speed. Next, we're going to be bringing his pants up here over the waist ring. And then we'll be taking the top portion of his costume and sliding that over the shoulder and bringing this all down. An important note here is what's the front and the back of the costume. It's a little hard to tell. On the front of the costume, there is a hole here where the wire for the sensor mechanism will be coming through. So he's starting to look pretty darn good here with the costuming attached. Next, we're going to be installing his spine. So the spine is just going to hook back into the frame in the back. This is just going to give him basically a backbone, as when you put this on, it kind of does like this. So it just gives him a nice shape here in the back. And this, my friends, is how that spine just fills out the back. So now, my friends, it's time to get elevated and put on the head and the chest plate. So the chest plate is a good hard plastic. It does have the sensor built into it right here. This is a very good sensor. This sensor will pick up very well, although I do leave him on continuous mode. Using this sensor, I think you'll be happy with it. Coming out of the back of the chest plate is the wire that connects to the sensor. That's going to go right here through this hole in the front of the costume. And there are hooks here on the chest plate that are going to drop down right here into a supporting structure for those hooks. And now we're ready to install this head. This head has two wires coming out of the back of it. One is going to be for his LED eyes. The other is going to be for the jaw movements. And the head is simply going to slide down into a socket here that is built into his shoulder support structure. So he's really coming to life here. It's time to put on some arms. So the arms are going to simply hook up into the shoulder sockets with the two hooks. The left arm has a wire coming out of it, so you want to be careful to feed that down the back. And that's going to be for little Sally here, because he just rocks and shakes Sally like crazy. A few notes on installing these arms. It's kind of challenging. So trying to get the arms up the sleeves is a little bit rough. Again, this material is extremely thin. I don't even know if I would call it material. So you have to be really, really careful because it's extremely easy to tear. And there's not too much room up there to be able to get the sockets in place. So you really have to have small hands to get up there and assemble it. But we do have little Sally here ready to swing. And just a side note, she's been used on a lot of other props. So this poor little girl, she's been hanging around a long time. So a few added tidbits. The sleeve costuming does have Velcro on the inside. The hands do have Velcro on them. And you're going to be using that Velcro to attach the sleeve to the hand. So when this guy swings and the wind blows, that sleeve is going to actually stay out here in place. Now we're ready to go to the back and go ahead and install the wires for the head, the wire for the sensor. All of that's going to connect up to wires in the back and the control box. This does feature both push pin clips as well as the RCA type jacks. So we'll be doing both of those. It's going to be a tad bit of a challenge here in the back. His costume does not open up like many do today with Velcro in the back to be able to access everything. So I'm going to have to really kind of work my hands up there and feel around. But we're going to get this done. I do like to rate my prop assemblies on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the easiest and 10 being the hardest. This guy's going to get a solid 8. Trying to work around here and feel those wires and not tear the material, not be able to see what you do up in here with the wires. It all has to be done almost by touch and feel. It's just, it seems overly difficult that they just didn't put an opening in the back of this costume with the Velcro. So our last step is going to be his shroud over his head. That's going to come around here. There's lots of Velcro up here. There's lots of Velcro on this shroud. So we're going to go ahead and put that up and see how he looks. And before the demo, we're going to take a final look at this assembly. Poor dear Sally. You got to feel sorry for this little girl. So I did mention about the Velcro up here, and the Velcro actually goes and attaches to the face here, and that is coming from this piece of the material. The actual shroud itself simply Velcros to the top of this guy's head. And here is that side view with the lights on to give you that full spectrum. And there we have it, my friends. The 7-foot towering boogeyman with little Sally. He's going to look really good next to the 8-foot boogeyman from the Home Depot in 2023. Can't wait to see these two twins next to each other. It's going to be pretty dang scary. So now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, it's the demo.
3, 2, 1. And now it's time for my final thoughts.
Well, personally, I think he's rocking. Or at least little Sally is. I think he's going to look really good next to his twin brother, the 8-foot boogeyman from the Home Depot. I can't wait to see what people think on Halloween about the two of them. If you haven't watched that video, it's definitely worth checking out so you'll understand what I'm talking about. Please subscribe, ring the notification bell, hit the like button, ask a question in the comments. I'm pretty responsive. I hope you enjoy my videos. I enjoy having you as part of the Frightman family. And until next time, stay spooky, my friends.